the CRD for Duval County, the state of Florida is now in session. The Honorable Russell Haley presiding. May God save the people of the state of Florida and this honorable court. There'll be absolutely no talking or communicating. Please make sure your cell phones are turned off. You may be seated.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
We are about ready to resume. I did have one question, Mr. Strolla, and maybe Mr. Guy or somebody on at the side real quick. And there. All right, then, Mr. Strolla, two things. One, I got a message that earlier you couldn't be heard, and I suspect it was because I let everybody sit at the table, and I thought those microphones at the table would pick up what people were saying, but it didn't. I don't know if they were not on or it just didn't pick up, whatever. But now we're back to the body mic, so you'll be good. Mr. Guy, I think you'll do the same, so that'll help. So, Mr. Strolla, you ready to proceed?
So ready, Ron.
And is the state ready to proceed?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Strolla, your next witness.
Sir, we will call Michael Dunn.
All right, Mr. Dunn, if you'll stand up and come forward. And we've already had our conversation about your testimony.
Yes, sir.
And if you'll raise your right hand, the clerk will administer the oath.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you.
All right, Mr. Dunn, if you'll come around and have a seat over here at the table, or at the witness chair. And at the attorney's request, we're handling Mr. Dunn being seated in the witness chair before the jury comes out. Is that correct, Mr. Strolla?
Yes, Your Honor.
And is that no objection from the state?
Correct.
All right, we can bring the jurors on in.
Judge, you can stand.
Jurors are entering the courtroom. Stand.
Mike.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back. You can have a seat. I apologize for a little bit of a late start, but we had some matters that we just had to tend to. Hopefully that it will mean we've streamlined a few things as we go forward. So rest assured that we were working while you were waiting for us. Mr. Strolla, you ready to proceed?
So ready, Your Honor.
Stay ready to proceed? Yes, sir. And Mr. Strolla, your next witness?
Thank you, Your Honor. We had called Michael Dunn.
All right, and ladies and gentlemen, obviously Mr. Dunn is here on the stand. He has been sworn, so he took the oath and is under oath and ready to testify. Mr. Strolla.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good morning, Mr. Dunn. How are you?
Good morning. Fine, thanks.
Could you please introduce yourself to the jury?
Hi, good morning. I'm Michael Dunn, D-U-N-N.
And how old are you?
I'm 47.
And what line of work are you in?
I'm a computer programmer, like software developer.
And is that your background?
Yes, for the past 22 years, I've had progressive experience in that field.
And any type of physical work or manual labor, anything like that?
No, unfortunately, I had a motorcycle accident as a young man, and I'm fairly sedentary, not too much sports, things like that.
And based on that motorcycle, did you sustain pretty good injuries?
Yes, to my lower back.
Okay. And was that motorcycle accident actually with your now ex-wife, Phyllis Molinaro?
Yes, it was. That was Christopher's mom and I when we were both teenagers.
Okay. Now, to kind of fast forward a little bit, do you still have the recollection of the week and the weekend of November 23rd, 2012?
Absolutely.
Okay. Can you tell the jury, prior to coming to Jacksonville, let me ask you this, why did you come to Jacksonville that Thanksgiving weekend?
For my son's wedding,
Okay.
specifically.
And that was Chris Dunn?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And did you make any arrangements with Miss Rower?
Well, we came together.
Well, that's what, but did you make arrangements for the whole weekend is what I'm
Oh,
asking.
absolutely. We were going to be up Thursday night to attend the wedding Friday. And then Friday night, we were going to, I'm saying it wrong, we were going to stay in town 2 nights. Saturday night, we were going to be in St. Augustine at a bed and breakfast that was also pet friendly.
Okay. And you just mentioned pet friendly. Did you choose a hotel in Jacksonville for that reason?
Yeah, we found the website that listed all the pet-friendly hotels in the area. Where our wedding was in Orange Park, we actually found the hotel that was a little far away just because it was pet-friendly.
Okay. So again, is it safe to assume that was probably the closest one to the wedding area where everybody lived?
Yes, it was.
Okay. And how old was your puppy?
7 months old.
That was at the time in 2012?
Yes.
Okay. And did you purchase that puppy? Did you adopt it? Was it you and Miss Rower's decision to get a dog together?
Yeah, it was our decision together, and we purchased it.
Okay. And how long had you been with Miss Rower?
At that time, 3.5, 4 years.
Okay.
It's like May of '08 when we started going out.
Okay. Did you have a serious relationship with her?
Absolutely, she's my fiance.
Okay. And were you living with her at the time?
Yes, we were.
Okay. And how long were you living together?
If we were together 3.5 years, we were living for 3 of those.
Okay.
So we dated about 6 months before things got serious.
Okay. And where was this, I guess we'll call it a premarital home. Where were you guys living at that time? You don't have to give me an exact address, but what area were you living in?
It was South Patrick Shores, commonly referred to as Satellite Beach.
Okay. And did you live there the entire 3 years together?
No, we did not.
Okay. When did you move there?
We had been there almost, I think we had just renewed our year lease, so we were coming up on our 2nd year there.
Okay. And how would you characterize Satellite Beach?
Small beach community.
Okay. Friendly neighborhoods?
Very much so. We were just south of Patrick Air Force Base, so we had, young people in the area, surfers, an eclectic group, retirees. I mean, it was a nice community.
Okay. And even, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, you lived close to the beach.
We were on the beach, our backyard, and then there was a dune, and then there was the beach.
Okay. And was that beach also pet-friendly and accessible to animals?
Yes, it was.
Okay. And is that one of the reasons why you guys decided to get a dog together?
Yeah, all the neighbors, I mean, quite a few of the neighbors in our area, if you will, it was like 8 different townhouses, and most of them had pets, and that was kind of what prompted us to get one.
And this was a small subdivision. You said there was about 8 condo units?
Yes.
Townhouse units?
Yes.
Okay. And when you drove up to Jacksonville, did you make arrangements to take care of the dog? I mean, did you bring supplies for the dog, things like that?
Yes, we did. We brought a crate, food, things like that, specifically for him.
And do you have children?
They're all grown.
Okay. Does Miss Rower have children?
Yes, they're all grown as well.
Okay. Was this dog kind of your guys' child?
Yes.
Okay. And what was his name?
His name is Charlie.
And obviously, you were close with Charlie even after 7 months with him?
Yeah, if I worked from home, of course, he was with me. But when I wouldn't, even when I would go into the office, I would take him.
And what kind of dog is Charlie?
He's a French bulldog.
What size is he?
He's very small. I mean, at 7 months old, he was maybe 15 pounds. I think he's pushing 25, 30 now.
Okay. And did you guys have any issues coming up to Jacksonville, driving up and checking into the hotel?
None at all.
Okay. At some point, did you bring alcohol with you into the hotel with Miss Rower?
Yes, we did. We brought our own quote-unquote supplies.
Okay. And obviously, going to a hotel, even if you go to the bar, it can be quite expensive to have a few drinks.
That, and it was the holiday weekend, everything was going to be closed.
Okay. And again, do you and Miss Rower enjoy adult beverages while you have dinner, watch TV, things like that?
Yes, we do.
Okay. Obviously, again, we heard some discussions about you. Where did you grow up?
In the Florida Keys.
Okay. Comparing yourself drinking back as, growing up as a teenager in the Keys to now, a little bit different?
Very much so.
Okay. Now, do you hold a pilot's license?
Yes, I do.
Okay. And how long have you had a pilot's license?
I've since 2005.
Okay. And how would it affect your pilot's license if you had too much to drink or got in trouble for drinking?
They will revoke your license.
Okay. And we kind of heard some of your family, friends, and your parents' neighbors testify. Did you get your pilot's license to kind of be in part of that group?
Yes, two.
Okay. And how often did you go and spend weekends and nights at your dad's house for the planes?
Every weekend.
Okay.
Every Saturday and sometimes Saturday and Sunday.
Okay. And would you go there during the week at night to help your dad work on the plane, help neighbors work together?
Yeah, Dad usually hosted dinner parties, just informal get-togethers, and so we would go by there to enjoy time with them.
And would that also include holidays? Would the community kind of get together for holidays even?
Yeah, it's a fairly tight-knit group. If they weren't at Mom and Dad's house, they would be at somebody else's house, but it was the same crowd of people going from house to house.
Okay. The day of your son's wedding, did you wake up and pour any drinks?
No, we did not.
Prior to driving over there, did you pour yourself a drink?
No.
Okay. Had Miss Rower, your fiance, ever met that kind of side of your, I guess, your ex-wife, her in-laws, things like that?
She hadn't met anybody, but she had seen pictures of Christopher on Facebook, things like that.
Okay.
But hadn't met him in person.
Okay. Kind of nervous experience?
I was going to add that she was very apprehensive of meeting them.
Was that because of how she thought maybe she wouldn't be received?
Exactly. She was worried about that.
Any issues at the wedding? Did anybody have any apprehension with welcoming Miss Rower as your fiance?
No, they made her feel very welcomed.
And then obviously you heard your ex-wife testify.
Yes, I did.
And that was Phyllis Molinaro?
Yes.
Okay. Same thing. Were there any concerns even with your ex-in-laws, your ex-brother-in-law, ex-mother-in-law, any type of animosity or hard feelings?
Towards me?
Yes.
No, everybody was happy to see me. I was happy to see everybody. It was, it was a nice time.
Okay. At any point in that evening, did you have an alcoholic beverage?
Yes, I did.
Okay. How many do you recall having?
Not many. I mean, they were small, so if I had a couple, it was, I would say Rhonda's characterization of 3 to 4 is probably accurate.
Okay. And again, we kind of see the little small styrofoam cups in here today.
That's like a half a drink.
Okay. And would that be accurate as to kind of the cups at the wedding?
Absolutely.
All right. And did you hear me ask them kind of, was it a solo cup? Do you know what a solo cup is?
Yes, I do.
Would those be significantly larger than what they had at the wedding?
Absolutely.
Okay. Did you bring any of your own supplies in your pocket? You bring a flask, anything?
No,
like that?
absolutely not.
Okay.
We were there to meet, to be respectful to a wedding, not to partake, as it were.
Okay. And were you also going to the bar to get Rhonda drinks?
Yes, I was.
Okay. And then apparently, does Miss Rower like white wine?
She prefers white over red.
Okay. Did they have any white wine at the wedding?
No, they did not.
Okay. So were you going to get her drinks of rum and cokes, the same thing you had been drinking for her that evening?
Yes, I was.
Okay. Any effects of that alcohol at all on you?
No, I would have a small glass, and then I would do a water. Plus, we were eating.
And that's what I was going to ask you. Did they have appetizers? Did they have an entree, main course, things like that?
Yeah, they had a full buffet. I mean, it's full on dinner.
And did you eat the buffet?
Yes, I did.
Did you ever go back for seconds?
I think I did.
Okay. At that time, Were you working out or anything like that? Any type of physical fitness?
I'm sorry to say no.
Okay. Was that a topic of you and your fiance about,
Yes, it was.
she kind of make fun of you about the,
Well, that and she was exercising and working out at the time, trying to get me to do it with her.
now at some point, did you have conversations with family and friends there at the wedding?
Absolutely.
Again, when you walked out and you left, can you tell the jury why you left your son's wedding?
Well, when we left early, I apologized for leaving early, but I had warned him ahead of time that we were going to have to take off about 7 o'clock because Charlie was in the room by himself in a crate, and he was going to need a potty break.
Okay. And how far away was the wedding from the hotel that you were at that was pet friendly? Drive time.
Roughly a half hour, 30 to 40 minutes.
Okay. And again, there was some discussion earlier about you had lived in Jacksonville how many years ago?
It was 1995.
Okay.
So what's that? It's almost 15 years, is that
Okay.
right?
Are you familiar? Did you memorize Jacksonville? Did you know exactly where you were when you came back up?
Some things were familiar. The 295 loop was. I seem to recall NAS was west on that somehow, but I had stayed at my brother-in-law's apartment when I was here during the week.
So did you ever take up residence or have your own house?
No, I just stayed with him.
And that was with Don Mays?
Yeah, that's when I first met Don. We both worked for the NAS Mega Center.
Okay. And what were you doing for the Navy then?
We were working on a huge multi-million-dollar system.
Okay. Now, at some point when you left the wedding and you were driving back to the hotel, whose idea was it to stop at the gas station?
Rhonda wanted to get a bottle of white wine.
And that's because they didn't have white wine at the wedding?
Correct.
Okay. And she was planning on picking up a bag of chips?
Yes, she was.
Okay. Did she eat at the wedding? Did you see
Not very much. She ate, she picked around her plate more than ate.
Okay. And at that point, why did you pick that gate gas station? Any reason at all?
It was on the way. I mean, we got off the highway and I was following my GPS map, not really knowing where we were at, but it was the first place we saw.
Okay. So as you get off the highway, GPS just kind of said, get off this exit. You didn't punch in convenience store.
No, we punched in our hotel as the destination.
All right. And then you kind of just happened, like you said, this was the first place you passed?
Yes, it was.
Okay. Do you recall, looking back on it now, how far away the hotel was from that gas station?
It wasn't very far. I've heard testimony it was like 3 miles away, and that seems about right.
Okay. And was there a lot of traffic that evening? Was it bumper to bumper? I mean, Jacksonville's kind of famous for rush hour traffic. Was this rush hour?
7:30 in the evening. I don't think that qualifies as rush hour, but I don't recall any heavy or light. It just is normal traffic to me.
Okay. Now, when you pull in, how do you end up finding that spot?
It was the closest spot to the door that was open,
And why did you take that spot?
so we didn't have far to walk to
Okay.
the door.
And you knew Miss Rower was going to get out to go buy the wine and chips?
Yes, that's correct. That was our purpose.
Okay. And Miss Rower's door actually would have been closest to that sidewalk, right, to walk in the door?
Yes, it was.
Okay. So it would have been the closest even for her to go into the store?
That's correct.
Okay. At some point, did you hear loud thumping bass?
Yes, I did.
Okay. Can you tell the jury, what did you see or hear when you pulled into that spot?
When I pulled into the spot, there was a red SUV in the adjacent area, adjacent parking spot.
Okay. And do you recall if there were other spots available?
I don't recall. I think there were some very far away, like extreme left, but nothing, like there wasn't anything right on the other side of the SUV. It was take the spot next to the door or take the spots that were way far away.
Okay. And again, you knew at that point you were going there to let your fiance out to go get chips and wine.
Right, just in and out.
And did you have that discussion before you even pulled in the gas station?
That we were getting chips and wine?
Yeah.
I knew she was getting wine. The chips were a surprise.
Okay. Okay. In terms of this music, would you characterize it as music or just the loud bass thumping?
I just heard the thumping.
Okay. And there was some testimony about, you heard Miss Rower say, oh, I hate that thug music.
Yes.
Okay. Was that because you could hear the lyrics, or was that because the bass was so loud?
It's just the bass.
Okay. And do you recall if, when you were parking there, how soon Miss Rower got out of the car? Did you guys sit there and have any type of conversation?
No, I think our conversation was her holding out her hand for some money and me giving her a kiss, hurry back.
Okay. So basically, is it fair to say it took a few seconds before you put the car in park and she was out of the vehicle?
That's correct.
Okay. She have any issues walking into the store?
No.
Okay. At that point, did you have any physical sensations about this thumping bass?
It actually started a few seconds after she went in the store.
Okay.
There was music, but then it got really loud.
Okay. And by really loud, was it just, it's kind of annoying, or was your rear windshield?
Body panels of the SUV were rattling. My rear view mirror was shaking. My eardrums were vibrating. I
Okay.
mean, this was ridiculously loud music.
Okay. And in Satellite Beach, you said there's young people, there's surfers. Have you been in an instant where people have their music or their bass loud?
Yes, at gas stations, if you pull up and the guy right across the island from you is a Jeep or whatever, their cars tend to be open. I've had, I've asked people to turn it down before, and they do it happily.
Okay. Do you do it, does it make you angry that people have their bass or music loud?
No, not at all.
Okay. Have you ever had, well, in your experiences, when you've asked someone, hey, would you please turn it down, have you ever been threatened or cursed at back?
Never.
Okay. And when they do turn it down, what is your common response?
Thank you.
Sustain.
That night, did you ask the guys in the red SUV to turn down that bass?
I did. I said, can you turn that down, please?
Okay. Did you say anything like, I can't hear myself think?
If I did, it wasn't to them. It was kind of like a muttered to myself.
Okay. But do you even recall making that statement out loud?
I do not.
Okay. And when you said, could you turn that music down, please, what was the response from the red SUV?
They turned it off. And if the music wasn't off, at least the bass stopped completely.
Okay. And at that point, what did you then say?
I said thank you.
Okay. Did you give any kind of hand signal or wave, anything like that?
I did not.
Okay. Were the windows up in the red SUV, at least in the front passenger?
I looked to my left when I asked to turn the music down, and I saw the front windows were up.
Okay. And were they tinted?
Heavily.
Okay. Could you see anybody who was behind there?
No.
Okay. How about when you asked the question, were you looking around, or did you just direct it to the guy sitting kind of right next to your car?
I just turned a little bit to the left, so I only saw the front.
Okay. And did you have to lower the window and get their attention, or did you just...
I put my window down because, who's going to hear you when the window's up, and turned to my left and said, could you turn that down, please?
And was that red SUV front passenger door right to your left?
Correct.
I know it sounds kind of odd. Was it exactly...
It was even with me.
Okay.
Right next to me.
And then when you said thank you again, did you make any motions, or did you just say thank you?
I actually, when I said thank you, I turned and looked left again, and that's when I saw the rear area of the SUV where the windows were down.
Okay. And did anybody say anything back to you in your response to saying thank you?
No.
Okay. How soon after... Well, let me ask you this. Once you said thank you, did you put your window back up, or was it already...
I did. I turned my head, I said thank you. I looked back straight ahead, and I put my window back up.
Okay. How soon after that did anything else happen other than that kind of moment of silence we just talked about?
Very soon after, I start hearing things like F him and F that, and, it's,
Now, instead of saying, I mean, were they actually saying the word, or are you paraphrasing?
I'm paraphrasing.
Okay. Was it in a nice tone? Was it, what kind of the tone?
No, it was mean-spirited, just like annoyed, if you will.
Okay. And once you heard these comments, did you look back over and react at all?
Not even a little bit.
Did you roll your window down and say anything?
No, I did not.
Did it make you angry?
No, it did not.
Did you punch your steering wheel?
No.
Did you throw your phone down?
No reaction at all.
Okay. And at that point, after you don't react at all, does it escalate?
Well, the music came back on.
Did the music come back on same or even louder?
No, it's probably a little bit less loud than it was, but it came back on.
And was it still that bass thump?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. Now, are you familiar how radios work with trebles and vocals and things like that?
Yes, I am.
Okay. And at that point, is there a difference between music and lyrics versus that thumping bass?
Yeah, the only thing that was coming through is bass.
Okay.
Thumping bass.
Okay. And we talked a little bit about your window is shaking. Do you have any type of ear damage?
I do.
Can you explain to the jury what damage you have and how you got that?
Growing up in the Keys, scuba diving is a big part of life, and I actually have damage to my right ear. I don't know what the percentage is, but I do have a loss of hearing in my right ear, and consequently my left ear kind of compensates for it.
Okay. And matter of fact, did you have any type of business in the Keys in terms of a job or family business where you would actually use diving and things like that?
Yes, my father had a dive charter business, and we would take paid customers and go scuba diving.
Okay. And did this loud thumping create you any discomfort?
It did in my left ear, my sensitive ear.
Okay. And again, did you turn and yell at the guys in the SUV?
When they turned the music on the second time, I wasn't going to ask them for any more favors again.
Okay. And did you still hear somebody yelling and cursing at that time?
I did. Now it got ugly. I heard, something cracker, just.
Did you actually hear certain words, or again, are you paraphrasing?
I heard some things.
Okay. And without going those specific terms, you kind of knew what they were saying to you?
Yes, I did.
Did you have any reaction at all back to them?
No, I did not.
Okay. Did you, again, get angry and hit the steering wheel? Any type of anger at all?
No reaction other than I'm looking forward and hoping Rhonda comes out.
Okay. Now, again, you're not showing any reaction. At this point, do things escalate out of the person yelling at you in the SUV?
Yeah, because, when they F this and F that, there was no music playing and I could hear him. Now there's thumping bass and I can hear him. His voice is elevating.
Can you hear him because he's yelling so loud it's over the bass?
It's over that thumping noise.
Okay. And does this yelling now include threats of violence against you?
Well, after hearing the something cracker and this and that, I hear, I should kill that motherfucker. And I'm flabbergasted. I'm like, I must not be hearing this right.
How many times did you hear that?
I heard him say that, and I wasn't sure if that's what I heard.
Or at this time, are you trying to listen a little closer?
And now I'm listening closely. Like, when I'm sitting there, I'm kind of thinking about the nice day we had. I'm thinking about St. Augustine tomorrow. But when this, I should kill that motherfucker comes through, now I'm paying attention to what they're saying.
Okay. That kind of got you to
And
perk up?
yes, and then even a more elevated voice, I hear, I should fucking kill that motherfucker. And now he's screaming.
Okay.
There's no mistake of what he said. That is what he said.
Do you then look over to see, is somebody talking to you?
I did. In fact, I'm to the point where I think it's time to try to de-escalate this,
Okay, and what do you mean by that?
to try to calm things down.
Okay, and do you lower your window?
I did. I put my window back down and I looked left.
And what do you see?
Well, right about that time, I saw a young man walk by the front of my car who I have since learned is Tommy Storns.
Okay, was there any kind of communication between you and Mr. Storns?
No, I just caught him out of the corner of my eye. I didn't really
Okay,
look at him full on, and I certainly didn't speak to him.
okay. And were you even paying attention to that? Are you still focused to the guy yelling at you?
I'm looking at the guy in the rear passenger seat.
Okay. Could you clearly see into that vehicle?
I could, and I saw two young men with menacing expressions.
Did they look happy with you?
No, not at all.
Does the one, let me ask you this, was the window up or down on that back passenger SUV?
Down.
Okay, was it halfway down? An
All
inch
the way down.
All the way flat down. Did you have any unobstructed view looking over your left shoulder, looking into that vehicle?
An unobstructed view.
Right. And you could see two men sitting there?
Yes, I could. Two young men.
Okay. And at that point, did they ever turn their attention towards you and look at you?
They did, and I asked, "Are you talking about me?"
Now let me stop you there. There's a famous line with Al Pacino that says, "Are you talking to me?" Did you say that to these young men?
I think the inflection on that is talking. My inflection was on me. I said, "Are you talking about me?"
Right. And why did you ask that as a question if they were talking about you?
Well, they were saying they wanted to kill the MFer, and I wanted to know if I was that MFer.
Okay. And if they did say yes, and you said you wanted to de-escalate it, what were your intentions of talking to that back passenger?
Well, I wanted to make it clear that I had said thank you. I mean, I didn't mean any disrespect by asking him to turn the music down.
Did you tell them to turn it down, or did you ask them?
I asked them, I said please.
And have you done that before in the past?
Absolutely, without reservation.
Okay. And again, saying a common courtesy is to say thank you when someone does you a favor.
Absolutely.
Okay. And at that point, when you said, "Are you talking about me?" does that individual give you even time to then further talk and say, "I said thank you," anything like that?
No, it escalated.
Okay. Did you escalate?
No, he did.
Did you get upset?
No.
Did you have any words at all to him other than, "Are you talking about me?"
There wasn't time. I mean, I didn't have a chance to say anything.
And what was the response from the person in the back passenger of that SUV when you said, "Are you talking about me?"
He reached forward and picked something up and slammed it against the door.
Okay, when you said he reached forward, did he reach into
I'm
that
sorry,
front
he
passenger?
reached down.
Okay. Down towards his feet?
Down towards, I mean, I could see his shoulders move. I couldn't see his hands. But you can imagine if somebody's shoulders move forward that they're reaching down.
All right, could you see him actually lean down towards the floor of that car?
Yes, I
truck?
did.
And at that point, did you reach for your firearm?
Absolutely not.
Did you try to flee or get out of the car or think anything was going to escalate in terms of physical violence?
No.
Tell the jury, after you see that person in the back seat reach down to the floor, do they come back up? Do they sit
Yes,
back up?
yeah, he not only came back up, but he slammed whatever it was against the door.
Okay. Could you see something against that door?
Yeah, I saw sticking above like the windowsill about 4 inches of a barrel.
Okay. Let me ask you this. Did he put it out the car? Did he hold it straight? Kind of describe to the jury what exactly you saw he did.
Like this and slamming up against the door.
All right. And could you hear metal hit the door?
It's like a thump.
Okay. Loud enough for you to hear? Even with the thumping of the bass going?
Sure, it was a different sound.
Okay. And you said it looked like a barrel of a gun or a shotgun?
It was a thick enough profile. It was, to my eye, a 12 gauge, maybe 20.
Okay. Tell the jury, are you familiar with 12 gauge and 20 gauge shotguns?
Yes.
How are you familiar with those type of shotguns?
We do the sporting clays. That's like skeet but, you know, the birds come from different directions. It's like shooting skeet.
Do you actually shoot birds?
No, I'm sorry, that's what they call the clay pigeon.
Okay. Kind of when you hear somebody say pull, and then
Exactly.
the clay gets shot out?
Yes.
Okay. When you said we, who is we?
My father and quite a few people from the aviation community.
Okay. And how long have you shot sporting clays?
Well, I did it as a child. I say a child, like 12. But since 2005, fairly regularly with my father.
Okay. Kind of a family, community activity?
Yes, it would be one of those Saturday things. We would go fly and then go shoot trap.
Okay. And so you understand how shotguns work?
Yes,
You understand how they fire?
absolutely.
You understand how projectiles come out of a shotgun?
Very much so.
Okay. Now, at this point, he reaches down and slams up what you think you see as a shotgun. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Do you reach for your firearm?
No, I do not.
Do you say anything to him of "you're dead"? Any words?
No,
that you use at that point?
he slammed something against the door and said, yeah, I'm gonna fucking kill you. Because when I asked him, are you talking about me? He was just saying I should kill that MFer. And I asked him, are you talking about me? And I didn't know what it was at first. But when he says, yeah, I'm gonna fucking kill you, I look and I'm looking at a barrel. He's showing me a gun and he's threatening me.
Okay. And again, you said it was only a few inches of that barrel?
Yeah, I'm estimating 4.
Okay. And again, at that point, did you grab your firearm?
I did not.
Okay. Did you have any words back in terms of retaliation?
No, I was in fear for my life and I was probably stunned.
Okay. At that point, how did that make you feel? Had anyone ever pointed a gun at you or even said the words I'm gonna
I'd
kill
never
you?
been threatened, let alone threatened with a firearm before. Not threatened with death.
Okay. And at this point, in terms of your mental processes, could you even imagine it would escalate to that point over asking someone to lower their radio?
I was incredulous.
Excuse me for my ignorance. What does incredulous mean?
I couldn't believe what I was seeing and hearing.
Okay. And were you frozen in that seat?
I was.
Okay. And where was Miss Rower, your fiance?
She was in the store.
Okay. And from the back window of that SUV to you, would that be a diagonal straight line?
Yes.
And then from you to the front of that gate entrance, would that be a diagonal straight line?
Yes, we were in line.
Okay. So if somebody had fired a shotgun from that angle, anybody coming out could be hit.
That's correct.
And that would include your fiance.
Right.
Okay. Did you even have time to look back to see if Miss Rower was coming out?
I did not.
Okay. Now, you don't pull your weapon at this point. You're sitting there. What happens now?
Well, I didn't react to this. I'm just like processing what's going on. And this young man in the back seat, the back passenger seat, opens his door, you know, like he cracked it. He just popped it open.
Could you hear the door unhinge?
Yes, and I saw it move just a little bit.
Okay. And at that point, because you've already said you were in fear of your life when he said, "You're dead, bitch," with the gun, right?
Well, he said he was gonna effing kill me, but after he opened the door, then he looked at me and said, "You're dead, bitch."
And were you still sitting there in shock?
Yes, I was.
Were you still in fear for your life?
I became even more fearful at that point.
Okay. At that point, what did you believe was about to happen to you?
I thought I was gonna be killed.
Did you even think he might even be able to get a shot off?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
But I still didn't go for my gun at that time.
Okay. Why is that? Why did you not reach for your gun?
I couldn't tell you, hoping that the situation was gonna de-escalate. I was in fear for my life, but I wasn't to the point where I was ready to employ deadly force.
Okay. And were you even thinking about at that point?
Not really. I was just like going, oh my God,
Okay.
where is all this hostility coming from?
All right. And at that point, is Miss Rower even in your view sight yet?
No,
Do you even know if she could be standing outside your car?
she could be, but my focus is to the left, and she could be standing right there.
Okay.
And of course, you know, a lot of things are going through my mind. It's not just my life, it's hers too.
Let me ask you this. At any time, did any of the people in the SUV try to calm that individual down?
No, when
Stop.
when I was looking at the person in the rear passenger, I could see the rear driver's side too. And while he wasn't saying anything, it was still that, I'm going to say scowl, but, you know, an angry expression.
And he was kind of still watching his friend.
Oh, absolutely. He was like just right there.
Did anybody in the front seat or any time did that back window ever come up or go up halfway or an inch, anything like that?
No, it did not.
Okay. And again, you don't know who else is in that vehicle other than somebody working the radio, I guess.
Yeah, I assume there's somebody in the front.
Okay. And then the two guys in the back,
Correct?
and then the one guy threatening you in the back.
Correct.
Okay. So now you said you see him move and you hear the door unpop.
Right.
Do you see the door open?
Yes,
Okay. At this point, are you still frozen in fear?
I am.
Okay. What changes? What is that variable?
After the continued threat of "you're dead, bitch," now the door opens and this young man gets out. And as his head clears the window frame, he says, "This shit's going down now."
And at any time, do you see that man try to get rid of what you thought was a shotgun that he was holding against that door?
Well, when the door opened and he said, "This shit's going down now," that shotgun's not sticking up anymore.
Okay. But you didn't see his body movement try to get rid of it and then get out?
No, I just saw him get out and the shotgun's not sticking up anymore.
Now, in your mind, did you think he was just going to get out to yell at you some more?
No, this is the point where my death is imminent. He's coming to kill me. He's coming to beat me. I'm not real sure what his intentions are. Actually, he made it very clear what his intentions were.
But again, you only know what you're being told and what you see.
Yes, and not having any doubts at all between his threats and his actions that is a gun in the window.
Okay. And again, you see that him now come out over the door frame. Is that correct?
I saw his head over the window frame as he stepped out, and it was at that point where he said, "This shit's going down now."
Okay. And has anybody ever, or let me ask you this, have you ever been in any remote type of position like that?
Never.
Do you have any type of law enforcement or military training to deal with that?
No, I do not.
In your wildest dreams, could you fathom being in that position over a common courtesy?
No.
Okay. Now, at this point, are you looking for Miss Rower? Are you trying to figure out where she is? What's going through your mind when he said, "This shit's going down now"?
What went through my mind is that this was a clear and present danger, and I said, "You're not going to kill me, you son of a bitch."
Okay. And as you said that, were you looking at him or were you now moving to get that firearm?
I said that as I was retrieving my pistol.
Okay. And where was your pistol?
It was in my glove box.
Where do you routinely keep that pistol?
In my glove box.
Okay. Is that the same pistol we saw here today?
Yes, it is.
Does that pistol fit all the way down deep into that holster?
Yes, it does. That's the actual holster you would use for concealed carry.
Okay. And if you're concealed carrying it, it's not open carry like you see in the Wild West where the old cowboys could grab their trigger and pull.
Right, that's inside the waistband holster.
Right. And does that trigger guard, that holster cover that trigger guard?
Yes, it does. You can see how it's molded over the, when the gun fits in, it completely covers the trigger guard.
Okay. And when did you have that, or when did you purchase that firearm?
In the early 90s, like 90, 91.
Okay. And would you take that to go target practicing?
Yes, I would.
Okay. And that's the paper targets you see at shooting ranges?
Yes.
Okay. Any type of modifications or customization to that gun?
The only thing I did was I took the walnut grips off and I put the Packmeyer grips, Those are the black grips. It's just non-slip.
The walnut is kind of a smooth finish.
Exactly.
Could slip out.
Exactly.
And if you're shooting, even at target, does the gun kick?
I think the Packmeyer grips look better, and they're probably safer.
Okay. And again, have you ever had to ever take that out other than to shoot paper targets at a range?
I've never, ever had to resort to any kind of firearm, let alone that pistol.
Okay. Now, can you fire that gun through the holster?
No, you cannot. The trigger is completely blocked.
Okay. How many rounds does that gun hold?
15 in the magazine.
Okay. And you heard Ms. Pagan testify that you can carry one chamber. Is that correct?
You could. I don't do that.
Have you ever carried your firearms, either in your house, your car, on your person, what I would call live, meaning there's a live round in the chamber?
No, I don't believe in that. I think that it's a safety issue.
Okay. And again, have you had guns since you had a family?
Yeah, with young kids in the house, you know, especially a revolver, a kid is strong enough to pull the trigger and snap it, and a revolver is just not safe. Same thing can be said for a double action pistol. If you have a round in the chamber, they're strong enough to pull the trigger, but they're not strong enough to work the slide. At least not enough, not until they're old enough where they know better.
Okay. And again, there was some mention about your son, Chris Dunn.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You and Phyllis Molinaro separated when he was quite young?
Yes,
Okay. Did Miss Molinaro go on to get remarried to another gentleman?
she did.
Did she have kids with that gentleman?
Yes, she had a daughter.
Did you go on to get remarried to another woman?
I did.
Did you have kids with that one?
Yes, I have 2 daughters.
Okay. Now, and is that why part of your rationale is you don't carry it loaded?
Right, because of my young daughters.
Okay. Now,
That pistol's actually older than they are.
okay, okay. With that being said, when you reached over, tell the jury what you did to grab it. Is your glove box locked? What's going on?
Well,
How you grab it?
my glove box isn't locked, but you know, the way my seat is kind of tilted back, I had to lean forward once to pop the glove box,
Okay.
then bounce back, then lean forward again to grab the pistol, like leaning forward a little bit farther.
Okay. And then when you grab it, is it still in the holster?
Yeah, I grabbed the whole thing.
Do you unholster it?
I grabbed the whole thing and I threw the holster down at my feet in the car.
And is this a very quick action that you're doing?
Absolutely, I'm in a panic.
And that's what I was going to ask you. At that point, do you also then rack the gun or cock the gun?
Yeah, to recreate it, I grabbed the gun and I stripped off the holster and I put the pistol up into the window and cocked it and then turned to my left.
Okay. At that point, when you turn to your left, are you trying to acquire a target, anything like that?
I'm just pointing it at the direction of my attacker at that point.
Okay. And that's the last place you saw this person who said,
This shit's going down now. This is the last thing he said to me.
with a firearm or deadly weapon in his hand.
Yes, I mean, everything he said and did cemented the fact that whatever he threw up against that looked like a gun was a gun.
Okay. And at that point, were you shooting only to defend yourself?
Yes, I was.
Did you have any malice intent outside of what you've already testified to and why you grabbed your pistol?
No, I do not.
Okay. Had you ever met anybody in this red SUV before?
No, I had not.
Obviously, you've learned their names now. Have you ever had any kind of contact with them, their families, anything at all?
No.
Okay. Would they have even known who you are?
Unlikely.
Okay. And again, you said you hadn't even lived in Jacksonville since the mid-90s?
Correct.
Now, how fast, I know we kind of recreated and we walked you through it, but if you could you show the jury exactly what you did when you heard it's going down now?
Well, if we say over here is my glove box, I'm looking out the window and I said, "You're not going to kill me, you son of a bitch," and I shot.
Okay. And do you even recall how many times you shot?
I do not.
Okay. You obviously heard the video?
Yes.
Okay, you got to see the video?
Yes, it was very impressive.
Okay. And how did that make you feel watching it?
It put me back in the moment.
How did that make you feel?
Scared.
About as scared as you were that day?
Not even a little bit, but it brought some of it back.
Okay. And again, have you ever been put in that position before in your life?
No.
Do you have any type of training to deal with being put in that position?
There's an objection, has to ask and answer.
Sustained.
Now, at that point, we hear the gun go off 3 times. You hear the boom, 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 or bang, bang, whatever it is, however you want to describe it. Was that, you could hear it yourself?
Yes.
Okay. At any point, do you then move the gun to find anybody else? Are you now searching
No,
for people?
how can I describe this? I had what's called tunnel vision. My hearing kind of dimmed. My senses just kind of, everything faded in the background, and it was focus on the target and
And that was the
pulling the
red door?
trigger.
With that target though being the
Just
red
the
door?
just the door. We
Why
saw.
were you shooting at the door?
Well, that's where the threat was coming from. That was the last place I saw my attacker, and that was about as far back as I could get in my position.
Okay. And again, were you shooting directly to your left, or would that be at the passenger door?
That would have been at the
The
front
front
passenger. I was angled behind me, two-handed. I have a damaged right finger. I really can't shoot a gun because I have to use this as a trigger finger. I'd only be holding it with 2 fingers. So I have to hold it two-handed for the recoil.
Okay. Judge, if I may, can I have him step down so the jury can actually see his finger?
Sure.
Mr. Dunn, if you wouldn't mind stepping down. Now, when did this injury happen to your finger?
2004.
Okay. And does obviously,
My knuckle doesn't bend.
could you put your whole hand down so they can compare that finger to the others? I'm just gonna have, sorry, if you could just slide down. I hate to do that to you, Mr. Dunn. And can you tell the jury, how did that injury occur?
Just a home improvement project gone awry.
Was that with your father?
Yes, it was.
Did he feel kind of bad?
He feels terrible.
Okay. And because of that, you said you have to hold it with 2 hands.
Right, because I would otherwise just be holding the grip with 2 fingers, and that's not enough.
Okay. And would you even have, would it almost injure you trying to fire the gun in
I
that?
think it would jump out of my hand. I've never tried it, just out of a,
Safety issue?
yes.
Okay. Now, with that being said, is it even possible when you're firing back at that back passenger door, is it even possible, did you duck your head and try to aim those crosshairs or sights?
I didn't aim, I pointed.
Did you even have time to try to acquire a sighting and get the things
No,
lined up?
my hands were rested on my windowsill.
And why did you fire so quickly? What was still going through your mind at that moment, if anything at all?
I was fighting for my life.
Okay. At that point, you felt your life was still in danger.
Oh, absolutely.
Object to leading.
Sustained.
How did you feel in terms of your mental abilities of it being in fear?
I was still fighting for my life. I was still in fear for my life.
Did anybody yell out, no, we're just kidding, no, it's okay, any type of comments like that?
No, nothing.
Anything to de-escalate the threats towards you?
Nothing at all.
And at that point, at some time, do you now realize that the SUV is gone?
Yeah, as I mentioned, I kind of was in a fixed position with the tunnel vision. I didn't realize the SUV was moving at first. You'll see in photos that there's 3 holes in the front passenger. That I was still aiming at the rear passenger, and it didn't register that the car was backing up.
Okay, and at some point you realize now there's no more red door in front of your face?
I registered movement and stopped, but I'd already put 3 additional shots into the front passenger.
Okay, and again, was that with any malice and intent for anybody in the vehicle other than the gentleman who threatened your life with a firearm?
No, it was just byproduct of the tunnel vision.
Okay.
And
And
the
then did
panic.
you stop once you realized that SUV is now no longer?
Yes, I did.
And at that point, did you look up?
Yes.
And where was the SUV when you looked up?
They backed up directly behind me.
Okay, so at that point, if you're facing this way, aiming out your door is closed?
My door is closed, my window's down.
Okay, did you ever try to open the door, get out of the vehicle and chase them down?
Not chase them down, but I did open my door.
Tell the jury, why did you open your door with the SUV behind you?
Well, they had a shot at the back of my head, very, very easy one.
And again, did you ever see anybody throw the shotgun or the deadly weapon away?
No,
And at that point, if they have a shotgun, what kind of sight do they have to you?
right. This is where Rhonda starts coming into my mind, because I know she's heard the shots. I know Rhonda. It wasn't just my life I was worried about, no.
And was that, in terms of your mental state, how did you still feel at that point in terms of the threat of imminent danger?
Right, I mean, it's double, because it's not just me we're talking about.
All right. And at some point now, do you see that SUV actually drive towards a different direction or try to drive away?
It did, and this is where the, now they're back in line with, if they fire on me, they'll hit the front door, and this is where Rhonda comes out.
Okay, and again, with your gun, how many bullets can it fire at a time?
One.
And that goes in one direction?
Yes, sir.
Okay, with your experience in training, what does a shotgun blast do?
It has a very nice spread.
And the further you get away, the bigger that
The
spread
bigger
gets?
the spread.
Okay, that's kind of why you could shoot clays at 50 yards plus and still hit
And
it?
hit it, yeah.
Okay. Do you fire additional rounds into the back of the truck?
I did, in my panic state of mind, I thought I fired once, but I've seen the photographic evidence, and, I shot 3 times.
Okay. What was your purpose of firing towards the back of that vehicle? Were you trying?
I was worried about a blind firing situation where they would, shoot over their heads or whatever and hit me and Rhonda.
Was the back passenger window still down?
Yes, it was.
Could a gun barrel be pointed out that window?
Absolutely, it was at a 45.
By 45, you mean the angle,
Yes, sir.
not the firearm?
Yes, I meant the angle.
Okay. And at that point, what was going through your minds in terms of fear? Were you still in imminent fear?
Absolutely.
Okay. And what was your purpose of shooting into that vehicle at that angle?
To keep their heads down, to keep them from shooting blindly.
Okay. And again, at this point, now you know there's at least,
4.
and do you know what they have in that car?
No, I know there's at least one weapon. Now I got, 3, 4 potential shooters.
All right. And again, how many are you?
1.
Okay. At that point, let me ask you this. After you fire the round into the back to keep their heads down, do you unload your clip? It's a common term. You just keep shooting until everything's gone.
No, I did not.
Okay. Why did you stop firing, and at what point did you stop firing?
I stopped firing when it appeared that the threat was over.
Okay. And they were far enough away where they couldn't shoot back?
They were far enough away where they couldn't shoot back effectively, and I certainly couldn't aim effectively.
Okay. Were you even trying to continue to shoot as they were driving away?
No.
Okay. At that point, what was your next focus on immediately after that?
Getting Rhonda and myself to safety.
Okay. Did you try to run into the store?
No.
When you turned around, who was standing there?
Rhonda.
Okay. And what did you say to her?
I said, get in the car, we gotta go.
And what did she do?
She got in the car.
Okay. And at that point, did you know where that red SUV went?
No, I lost sight of the red SUV, and I thought they turned onto that main road, whatever goes north there. I really wasn't that familiar with the way the parking lot works, but when they turned the corner and took off, I thought they were on, was that south side?
Yes. And at that point, did you have any type of of mental thought of retaliation or them coming back?
Yes, I was worried about them coming back, and maybe possibly they had friends in the area,
Okay.
or, doing retaliation.
Okay, and was it a busy gas station with a lot of people there?
Yes.
Did you
Yeah.
look around, and start asking people, are you friendly or you're not?
No.
Okay.
We just got out.
At that point, what is still your mental state of you being in fear of that situation?
I'm still in a panic. I'm still in, that we're in a very dangerous spot. I mean, I just got my life threatened because I asked them to turn the music down. And it's, now I shot at them. So now what are they going to do?
Okay. And again, is your belief they still have weapons in that vehicle?
Absolutely.
Okay. And at that point, emotionally, physically, do you notice any differences about your body physically?
I'm shaking. I mean, I'm quivering like a leaf.
Okay. Had you ever experienced those feelings before?
No, this is all new.
How was Rhonda once you explained to her what happened? Or did you explain to her or try to in the vehicle?
I tried to, but she was hysterical.
Okay. And were you still shaking and panicking?
I wasn't much better.
Okay. So was it a little bit difficult for you to verbalize clearly as we are today?
Yes, it was. I mean, I tried to get out the fact that they were threatening me. I tried to get out the fact that they were advancing on me. I tried to get out the fact that they were armed, but it was difficult, to say the least.
And was that because of your mental state?
Both of ours.
Okay. Now, how far away, you said, did it take you a long time to get back to the hotel?
No, not at all.
Do you even remember the ride back, or was it all?
I don't remember pulling in. I
Okay.
mean,
You heard Rhonda testify that she got out and she jumped out of the car and ran in. Do you recall that?
vaguely.
Okay. Do you even recall what parking spot you parked in?
No,
Okay. Do you even recall where in the parking lot vicinity you parked?
no.
Okay. And once Rhonda runs in, she's still visibly upset, obviously?
Yes, she was.
Okay. And at this point, is there any communication between you and her about what you're going to do next or why? Anything like that?
No.
Okay. What do you do in terms of your firearm?
I safed it. I took the magazine out, and then I took the shell that was in the barrel out, and I put it back into the magazine.
Okay. And did you have a little bit difficult time? Were your hands still shaking?
Yeah, I think I dropped stuff.
Okay. And at that point, were you even worried about grabbing it and shaking of what might happen?
I was being very delicate.
Okay. In terms of your emotional state at that point, were you worried about being followed? And I don't mean by police, I mean people trying to find you to hurt you.
Absolutely. We were staying at a hotel that has like a club room at the top floor. And we were there looking out the windows, like a waking nightmare. Every car was a red SUV. I mean, to us, we were just, you have to understand, we didn't know anybody had been hurt. We thought we had just made them go away and that they were going to come back.
Okay. And again, at this point, have you ever been in any type of situation even remotely similar to this?
Judge, objection
No.
to asking.
Sustained.
Have you had any type of counseling or training to handle this after a shooting?
No,
Did you even think you would ever need it in your life?
no, never.
And how was Rhonda's demeanor once you were upstairs?
She was a wreck.
And how was your demeanor once you got upstairs?
I wasn't much better, but I needed to hold it together for both of us.
And were you trying to do that for her?
Yes, I was.
And did you see her testify the other day? Would that be very similar to how she was acting that night?
That was calm compared to that night.
Okay. So she was much worse that night?
Yes, she was.
Okay. And then, obviously sitting here today, you're still visibly upset?
Yes.
Would you say this is probably calm to how you were reacting that night?
I think I'm more emotional now than I was that night because, I was trying to be stoic. difficulty processing what was going on.
Were you trying to comfort your fiance?
Yes, I was.
Okay. And at some point, did she even have to go get air because you were?
Smothering her?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. And again, that was in trying to get her to kind of breathe and relax?
Judge, I'm
Yes, it
intentionally
was.
leading.
Mr. Strolla, please don't leave.
Mr. Dunn, why were you doing it? Why were you behaving that way?
I was trying to get her to relax and stop hyperventilating and calm down. I was explaining to her that it was self-defense, that we were not in trouble with the police. We might be in trouble with the local gangsters, but not, I didn't do anything wrong.
All right, let me ask you this. At some point, did you take Charlie downstairs to use the bathroom?
Yes, we went upstairs and she changed. We were both wearing, evening wear. And I took Charlie down and to go potty, and by the time I got up, she had just finished changing.
Okay, and let me ask you this. We kind of talked about walking the dog. Did you take Charlie out for a walk?
No, I took him to just go potty. He was ready to go.
Okay. Did you walk him around the parking lot?
No, this wasn't an exercise walk. This was just to go potty.
Okay. And can you explain to the jury, once you go downstairs in the hotel, where is this area that the animals and the pets could use the bathroom?
Oh, it was right outside the door. It was like right around the building.
And was it in front, open to the public, in a public road?
No, it was kind of like to the side.
Okay. And was it extremely close, you said, right outside that door?
Yes.
And did Charlie have to use the bathroom?
Yeah, it was immediate.
Okay. And did you let Charlie walk around and smell the grass or play?
No, we weren't. I didn't want to be outside right then.
Okay. Did you immediately pick up Charlie and go back to the room?
Yes, we did. Or yes, I did. Excuse me.
And at some point, there was some discussion about ordering a pizza. Please tell the jury who ordered the pizza.
Well, I made the phone call, but it was, Rhonda didn't eat a lot for dinner. Rhonda was upset and her stomach was in knots. And I suggested maybe she needed something to eat to put in her stomach.
And did she agree with that?
She did in theory, but
No, absolutely. I understand. Who actually got the information to order the pizza?
I believe Rhonda did.
Okay. And at that point, did you go downstairs to get it?
Yes.
Did you have to go outside and meet somebody outside in the public parking lot?
No, it was in the lobby.
Okay, and is that lobby secured and locked?
Yes, it is.
Okay, and explain to the jury how that area works. Like Rhonda started talking about a key card or
Well,
swiping.
the elevator's locked. You have to have a room key to operate the elevator.
So the pizza guy couldn't come up.
Correct.
All right. And again, did you ever go outside other than the area of the elevator to get that pizza?
No, I did not.
Okay. When you brought the pizza up, did Miss Rauer try to eat the pizza?
She did. She tried to eat a slice.
Okay. Did you eat any of the pizza?
No, I had no appetite.
Okay. And at that point, you guys still had some alcoholic beverages in the room you could make?
Yes, we did.
And did you make them?
Yes, I did.
Okay. Can you tell the jury, was it to have a nightcap and put your head on a pillow and watch a movie?
No, it was trying to calm down, we were both so upset.
And at that point, were your hands still shaky?
Absolutely.
Was your body still shaky?
Yes, it was.
What about Miss Rauer?
She was quaking,
Visibly.
visibly quaking.
Okay. And is that the reason why you poured alcohol?
Yes, it is.
Okay. At some point, let me ask you this. Did you guys keep drinking all night long?
No, I think it was the one that we had.
Were you toasting each other of, hey, what a beautiful day?
Not at that point.
Okay. Was there any type of joy or occasion of, what a wonderful day, let's have a drink? Anything along those lines?
No, it was all, we were stunned and, horrified and just couldn't believe that things escalated the way they did
Okay.
over a common courtesy.
Okay. At any time, talking about that, of escalating, at any time, did you ever raise your voice to the men in the SUV?
I think when I said, "You're not going to kill me, son of a bitch," I may have had a little inflection in that. But other than that, no.
Okay. Did you ever curse at the men in the SUV?
Other than the last thing I said, no.
Did you ever say anything derogatory at all to the guys in the SUV?
No, I did not. Not even when they were saying derogatory things towards me.
Okay. Now, at some point, does Miss Rower fall asleep?
Yeah, that was around midnight.
Okay. And were you able to sleep?
I fell asleep around 5 a.m.
Okay. Why was it so hard for you to fall asleep?
I was still processing the emotions and trying to make sense of what happened.
And at this point, are you still upset or shaken?
I'm upset and shaken. And again, we still don't know about the death. It's just a shooting at this point.
Okay. And at some time, though, in the middle of the evening or the middle of that night, you do learn that somebody had passed away.
Yes, I used my phone looking. We didn't have a computer with us. I had been watching the channels for news, and I found on my phone where they talked about the death.
Okay. And can you tell the jury what you saw on your phone that led you to believe that?
I don't remember exactly what it said, but it was something about a shooting on South Side, and it showed a fatality.
Okay. And obviously, if they use the word fatality, you know what that means.
Yes.
Can you tell the jury how you reacted when you saw that on your phone?
I ran to the bathroom.
And tell the jury why you ran to the bathroom.
I vomited.
Okay. And at that point, had you had any food in your system since the dinner at the wedding?
Not since dinner.
Okay. And again, did at that point you decide to put on a movie or eat pizza?
No.
Okay. How long were you in that bathroom sick to your stomach?
All the rest of the night until, I think I was finally able to lay down around 5.
Okay. And what time, did you have a great sleep? Did you sleep until 9, 10 o'clock in the morning?
No, we were up at 7.
Okay. And at 7 o'clock, where were you when Miss Rower woke up?
I was in the bathroom trying to get clean. I mean, I was taking a shower.
Okay. And that was because of what you had experienced physically in that night?
Yes.
Okay. And what did you hear Miss Rower say to you?
Well, I guess the TV was on and she saw the news report, and that's where she was calling me.
Okay. How was she calling you? Was it just a soft, hey, Michael?
No, it was hysterical.
Okay. And do you recall what she said when she said that to you, or how she called you?
Yes, she said my name 3 times.
Okay. And at that point, you knew she was awake?
Yes, I did.
Okay. Did you go out of the bathroom to talk with her?
I did. I went out and I gave her a hug, and I told her I know.
And at that point, what did Miss Rower say to you immediately after that hug?
Take me home.
How many times did she say that to you?
Multiple times, like 3-4 times.
Was there inflection in her voice, or was she calm about it?
Oh, she was quaking.
Okay. Was it safe to say, based on your knowledge and experience, was she panicking?
Yes, she was panicking and almost mute. I mean, she couldn't really talk other than to say, "Take me home."
Okay. And at that point, did you leave the hotel?
Yeah, we checked out at 8 o'clock. I mean, we were up at 7 and out of there.
Okay. And you still had to get your things together, get Charlie together?
It took about that long to get together.
Okay. And at some point, did you guys decide, hey, let's go have breakfast?
No,
Let's go have some coffee and orange juice?
no, we had plans to spend the afternoon with my son in St. Augustine, and that was off the table as well.
So if you wanted to leave Jacksonville, you could have actually, you had a reservation at a bed and breakfast in St. Augustine?
Yes.
Did you go there and stop there?
No.
Did you even go to look to see, maybe we'll just stay here and hang out?
No, we had.
What were your intentions after speaking with Rhonda at that moment?
Well, we were going to go back to Brevard, where we live. I have a neighbor who's in law enforcement.
And is that Mr. Ken Lescalette?
Yes, it is.
Okay. And Does he travel between two homes?
Yeah, he's in Washington DC.
Okay.
And,
And did you make a phone call to your neighbor Ken Lescalet?
I did. We left the hotel at 8 and I was calling Ken at 8:30.
Okay. And what was your intent or what was your purpose to talk to Ken or call Ken Lescalet?
Well, Ken is a federal law enforcement official. He knows me personally. And I figured if I went and I talked to him, I knew he had friends in the local Brevard County Sheriff where we could go together and I could speak to my hometown sheriff to tell him what happened. And, hopefully they would listen to my side.
Okay. Did you know anybody in law enforcement in Jacksonville, Florida?
No,
Did you still have any contacts to the guys on the Navy base in Jacksonville, Florida?
no,
Okay. Again, in terms of your mental state, were you your normal self at this point?
no, not even close.
And as we sit here today, 15 months later, are you even remotely close of how you were that morning?
No.
Okay. Do you recall the drive back from Jacksonville to home?
It was a 2.5 hour drive and it was over in a blink of an eye.
Okay. Was there a whole lot of discussion and talking between you and Miss Rower?
No, she was mute the whole time.
Okay. Did it appear that she was still visibly shaken up?
Absolutely.
And again, was she crying and sobbing at parts of this trip?
Yes, she was. She had fits of silence, fits of sobbing.
And obviously did this play into your mind of you still being upset?
Yes, again, I knew I had done nothing wrong, but it was hard to get her to understand this. And at the time, I was more concerned with her, get her taken care of, go deal with law enforcement later.
Okay. Did you have any belief or inclination that you were going to be accused of murder?
Absolutely not.
Okay. Let me ask you this. Did you still have a pilot's license November 2012?
Yes,
Okay. I mean, is it still valid the day you were arrested?
yes.
Okay. Did you lose the ability to fly a plane?
No, I had a valid passport as well.
Okay. And you had money in the bank?
Yes,
Okay. And you still had friends that you knew where they lived, you could drive to their house who they had an airplane?
Gentlemen,
Yes.
take the leading.
Sustain?
Let me ask you this, Mr. Dunn. Did you still have friends, if at all, that owned airplanes November of 2012?
several.
Okay. Did you drive to their house?
No, I did not.
Did you call them?
No, I did not.
Did you ask anybody to try to fly you to the Bahamas or another country, anything like that?
No, I did not.
Did you contact the airlines?
No, I did not.
Did you contact a car rental place?
No,
Did you even try to stop anywhere to use your credit card, to do anything, to buy a bus pass, anything like that?
no, I did not.
Okay. Did you get a hold of Ken Lescalet when you called there at 8:30 in the morning?
Yeah, I did, and the purpose of my call was to make sure that he was going to be home, and I told him I would be there about 10:30, and I had something very important to discuss with him, and I wanted to make sure he was going to be there.
Okay. And did he indicate to you he would be there to talk to you?
Yes, and he was.
Okay. When you got home, we saw some pictures of where you guys used to live. Do you recall seeing those pictures?
I do.
And there was a little bluish silver truck outside. Whose car was that?
That's Rhonda's,
Okay. Where does Miss Rower normally park?
right where that car was at,
Okay. And where do you normally park?
in the garage.
Okay. Why do you keep your car in the garage and hers outside?
Hers is bigger, mine is newer. I mean, a combo of the two.
And matter of fact, that's only a little one-car garage.
Right.
I saw some things on the walls on the side. Why are those there on your?
Those are like door protectors, little bumpers.
And are those in line with exactly where your door would open?
Yeah, I installed those.
Okay. Let me ask you this. When you pulled in, did you close the garage?
No, no,
Did you try to conceal your vehicle?
absolutely not.
Did you go try to ditch your vehicle somewhere else and have somebody pick you up?
No.
And when you get home, what's the first thing you and Rhonda do?
We unloaded the dog.
And then where did you go after that?
I went, headed out to the backyard, and that's how I would get to my neighbors.
Okay. And kind of explain for the jury, because we didn't get a lot of pictures of your neighborhood. Is it kind of where like all the doors face in the front like a regular house, or are the doors on the side and the back?
Most of the front doors face the road, the back doors face the ocean, but the side units, the front door is actually on the side.
And where does Mr. Lescalet live?
He's on the side.
Okay, so
He's got a back door, but
I was gonna say, what's the easiest path to get to his house?
the back.
Okay, and have you done that before?
Yes,
Have you socialized with him before?
yes,
Okay, so to walk to that back door was not going to surprise him?
no,
Okay,
that was the usual.
okay. And at some point before you went over to Mr. Lescalet's house after unloading Charlie, did Miss Rower get a phone call?
She did. Her phone rang, and it was a 904 area code, and we assumed it was my son calling, and I answered.
When you answered the phone, did you try to disguise your voice?
No,
Did you try to muffle it and say, hey, don't use my name, any type of deception?
no, absolutely not.
And when you answered the phone, who was on the phone?
It was Detective Musser.
Okay, and did he tell you who he was and say, this is Detective Musser, or did he just say it's a detective from Jacksonville?
Detective Musser, I'm a homicide detective from Jacksonville.
Okay, and as soon as he said that, what was the first things you said to him?
I know why you're calling. It was self-defense. I'm on my way to a law enforcement officer's home right now. My intention is to make my report to the Brevard County Sheriff's.
Okay, and what did Detective Musser respond when you said, I'm on my way to law enforcement to make a report?
He thought that was a good idea. He said that I had about 10 minutes to be on my way.
Okay, and you were already walking out that back door to your neighbor, Mr. Lescalet's
I was.
Okay, and when you got to Mr. Lescalet's house, how close of a walk is it? I mean, is it a mile away?
Oh no, it's 3 units away, so 30, 40 feet.
Okay, and when you get there, is he there to open the door and greet you?
Yes, he was.
Okay, do you advise him of what happened in Jacksonville?
Yes, without going into a lot of detail, I just kind of told him the blunt facts. I was involved in a shooting and somebody's dead.
All right, and did you ask him for assistance of saying, I want to contact Brevard County Sheriff's Office?
I did, and I made sure he knew it was a self-defense situation.
Okay, and did you have your firearm on you?
No, it was in my car.
Okay, did you try to get rid of the firearm? Did you try to hide it, anything like that?
No,
Okay, matter of fact, and you walked away from your car and left it in your garage?
correct.
Is your garage still open?
When I walked away, it was.
Okay, now, do you even know that Miss Rower tried to follow you or was behind you?
She showed up at Ken's eventually.
Okay, and at some point, were you in your neighbor's house drinking a glass of water?
Yes, I was.
And was Mr. Lescalet on the phone?
Yes, he had a business card for one of the local sheriff deputies. We met him. I don't remember his last name, but that was the gentleman. And so he was calling to speak to that detective or deputy specifically because he had personal knowledge of him.
Okay, and it's somebody even Mr. Lescalet could trust?
Correct.
Okay, during that conversation, and obviously don't go into what Mr. Lescalet says, but as Mr. Lescalet is on the phone, is it obvious he's talking to law enforcement?
Yes.
Okay, at some point, does the phone ring again for Miss Rower?
Yeah, Rhonda's phone rang, and now it's a 321 area code. That's the local for where we were at. And it was that Brevard County deputy sheriff on the phone for me.
And then did you get on the phone and talk?
I spoke with him.
Okay, and what did he say to you when you got on the phone? Did you try to disguise your voice or your name?
No,
What did you say, or what did he give you instructions?
he did, and I was a little confused because I thought Ken, Mr. Lescalet, was on the phone speaking with him, and he was here at our request. But he was actually there to execute a high-risk arrest.
Did he tell you that on the phone?
Well, he said, I need you to come outside with your shirt off and your hands up.
Okay, and when you said high-risk arrest, that's because the witness that testified was that same one?
Yeah, I just learned that today, or the other day, sorry.
Okay, so he didn't say that to you on the phone, you just saw his testimony?
You're right, yeah, he said, I want you to come outside with your shirt off and your hands up.
Okay, did you ever say anything back to him or resist in any way saying, I'm not coming out?
No.
Okay. What did you do with your shirt?
Took it off.
What did you do with the phone?
Set it down.
Where did you do with your person?
I went outside.
Okay. When you walked outside Ken's front door, or did you walk out his back door?
I went out his front door, which is the side.
Okay. And that would be closest to the road?
Well, actually, it was there was a wall dividing our area with another condo. So it was closest to a wall on the north side of the compound.
Oh, let me ask you this. If you wanted to flee, could you have hopped that wall?
Yes.
Would they have even known you had hopped that wall?
I don't think so.
Let me ask you then, tell the jury why you think that. When you walked outside of Ken Lescalet's house, what direction were the Brevard County Sheriff's Office facing?
They were facing my front door.
And were you actually behind them?
Yeah, Mr. Lescalet has extended cab pickup truck, so it's like 30 feet long. So I had to walk past the truck to get out to the parking lot, and that put me 20 feet behind the sheriff's.
And because they were focused on your unit.
Yes, with rifles.
All right. And at that point, did they know you were behind them?
They did not until I announced my presence.
Did you try to run?
No,
Did you try to flee or hop a wall at that point?
no.
Okay. At that point, how did you get their attention?
I think I called out to them.
Okay.
I don't recall what I said, but it was something like, I'm over here.
Okay. And did that take them off guard when they turned around?
Very much so. They seemed surprised.
Okay. And again, you're standing there with your shirt off
In my hand.
as instructed by law enforcement?
Yes, sir.
And what instructions did they give you at that point? If you recall.
I think they wanted me to kneel with my ankles crossed.
And did you do that?
Yes, I did.
Did you comply with all of their instructions?
Everything.
Did you ever resist, become aggressive, verbally challenge them, anything?
No, I had no reason to.
At some point, did they put you in the back of a patrol vehicle?
Yes,
Did they take you to the Brevard County Sheriff's Office?
they did.
Okay. Did they tell you why?
I'm sure they did.
Do you even recall what
No.
they said?
No.
What was your state of mind at that point?
Well, after what happened the night before and the 2 hours sleep, I think it's safe to say I was not in my normal state. I don't know how to describe it. It was a surreal experience, to say the least.
Had you ever been in that mental or emotional state your entire adult life?
Never had anything traumatic like that happen.
Okay. And at some point were you put into an interview room?
I was.
Okay. And obviously they had cameras, you could see they had recording devices?
Yeah, the cameras were fairly obvious.
Okay. And how long did they make you sit there by yourself?
It
If
was
you
hard.
recall.
It was hard to judge time at this. I mean, I can tell how long an hour is, but not that day.
Okay. And at some point, do detectives come in from the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office?
Yes.
Okay, and obviously you saw one was Detective Musser?
Right, and Detective Oliver was the other.
Okay. And do they ask you to give a statement?
They did.
And did you talk to them?
I did. I spoke to them freely. I had nothing to hide.
Were you cooperative with them?
Yes.
Were you trying to be evasive?
No, I was not.
Were you sarcastic?
No.
Were you rude?
No.
Were you disrespectful?
Not even a little.
And at that point, did you even know that they had already had a warrant for your arrest for murder?
No, I did not.
Nothing further, Your Honor.
Mr. Guy, cross-examination.
Mr. Dunn, you love Rhonda Rauer,
Yes, sir, I do.
right? You love her a lot, right?
Yes, sir, I do.
And you loved her back then, correct?
I love her today.
November 23rd, 2012, you were in love with her.
Yes, sir.
You cared about her,
Yes, sir.
right? And when she got into that car, she asked you what happened, right?
Yes, sir.
And you told this juror you explained it to her, right?
Yes, I did.
And she, as you said, was a wreck, right?
Yes, she was.
Because she knew that you had just fired into a car with human beings inside.
She doesn't understand self-defense, but you are right. She was very upset over what I had done.
Right, right. And so you guys were together for 3 miles and she was hysterical?
Crying, yes.
Right. You did not tell her during that 3 miles anyone pointed any weapon at you, did you?
I think I did. I think I was very clear that they threatened my life. I was very clear that they came out of their car advancing upon me. And whether she comprehended what I was saying, I couldn't say.
My question was, did you tell her they had a weapon of any kind?
Yes, I did.
You did. What did you tell her? To tell the jury the term that you used to describe the weapon.
I don't know what I said, but I told her that they had a weapon, they threatened my life, and he advanced upon me.
Well, how'd you describe the weapon? Did you say they had a sword? Did you say they had a machete?
Gun.
A gun. You used the word gun with Rhonda Rower.
Yes, I did.
When?
Multiple times.
One at a time, Mr. God.
Sir, are you telling this jury that on the way back to the hotel, you told Rhonda Rower that the boys in the car had a gun?
If I told her on the way to the hotel, I told her several times at the hotel, I told her several times on the way home that this was self-defense.
That wasn't my question.
Well, the whole conversation revolved around gun, threat. They came out of the car at me, so it wasn't just they had a gun. Because when he just had a gun, I didn't shoot him. It wasn't until he made specific threats and got out of his car and came after me.
Okay, I'm gonna
So
repeat
all
my
of
question.
that was part of the conversation.
All right. I'm going to take this in little tiny increments now, so follow me. From the time you left the gate station to the time you got back to the Sheraton, how many times did you use the word gun to describe what the boys, let me finish, what the boys in the car had?
I couldn't tell you.
Was it more than one?
At least one.
Okay. And when you got back to the hotel, she was still a wreck, right?
That's correct.
She was upset.
That's correct.
She didn't even go into the room, right? She
She-
was sitting out by the elevator.
She went into the room to change, and then we went out to the club room.
Right. And she, as she testified, was waiting for the police to come, right?
Well, we were waiting for the red SUV to come. Now, that's what I was waiting for. I couldn't tell you what she was waiting for, but that was the sentiment that I understood, that she was waiting for retaliation.
Okay, and we'll get back to that, the SUV. How many times during that time did you tell her they had a gun?
I don't think we discussed it because we were in a public area.
Okay, well, you did go back to your room, correct?
I'm talking about in the club room,
I understand. Now I'm talking about you go back to your room, right?
right?
She was still a wreck.
Yes, she was.
Okay, tell the members of the jury how many times you said to her they had a gun.
At least once.
And when she woke up, she heard that somebody had been killed, right?
Yes, she did.
Okay, tell the jury how many times you told her at that point, don't worry, honey, they had a gun.
I didn't say that.
The truth is, Mr. Dunn, you never told Rhonda Rower ever that they had a gun.
That's incorrect.
Hang on.
Counsel testifying as the truth is this, was asking the question.
It's cross-examination, Mr. Strello, overruled.
Mr. Dunn, the truth is, you never told the love of your life that those boys had a gun.
You weren't there.
Did you? You did tell her that?
I said you were not there.
I get that. I know that. The truth is, you didn't tell her about a gun, did you?
I mentioned the
Hang
gun.
on, Mr. Strello, if you want to object, please stand up, make the objection loudly so everybody will stop.
Ask me, Your Honor.
Judge, I don't think it's been answered.
Actually, I forgot the question. Ask the question again and see if you're going to make the same
The
objection.
truth is, you never told Rhonda Rower they had a gun.
That is incorrect.
Same objection.
All right, well, he's answered.
You never told them they had any kind of weapon, did you?
That's incorrect.
And the truth is that Jordan Davis was inside the red SUV when you shot and killed him.
That is incorrect.
Do you remember, the letter? I'm going to call it the letter that you dictated to your brother Matt
What was the title?
the day after Thanksgiving, Black Friday 2012. Looks like this.
Yes, I do.
You remember that?
I do.
Okay, tell the jury how that came to be.
I wrote that as like therapy for myself to get it out, as well as to inform my family and friends of what really happened, to counter the lies and misinformation that the state attorney and the media were putting out about what happened.
So this is it. This is the historical document of what happened on the evening of November 23rd, 2012, correct?
Sure, with reason. I mean, I didn't write the nasty words for my grandmother to read.
Anything other than that you didn't write?
You'd have to be specific.
Okay, well, let me be more specific. Do you remember writing, quote, on page 2? Do you need a copy?
I don't have a copy of it with me.
Would you like one? Would you like one?
Sure.
Your
Page
Honor,
2.
and I'm only going to object to reading something that's not in evidence and improper impeachment, no predicate.
Sustained.
Sir, is that the letter?
It appears to be.
All right. Well, I want to be right. Is that it? And Judge, for the record, I'll mark it, I think we're on 8S.
S as in Sam,
Yes, sir.
okay? For identification purposes.
Yes, sir.
Yes, this is the letter.
Okay. Is that a fair and accurate copy of it?
It appears to be.
All right. Judge, I've moved this into evidence as states, I think we're on 201.
Your Honor, we would object. It's not sworn, it's improper, it's hearsay. We understand it's a letter written by Mr. Dunn, but at this point, there's been no proper predicate laid in terms of marking in the evidence in the defense's case in chief.
Judge, you testify this is an accurate account of what happened. I'm going to tend to use it to impeach him.
Your objection is overruled to be received as states 201.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Again, the top of page 2. I'm going to ask you to look for this language. Quote, when I turned back to my left, the guy who was advancing on me had apparently seen me go for my own weapon and dove
Your Honor, I'm
back
only gonna
inside.
object. It's improper impeachment. He hasn't been asked if that's what he said. He hasn't been asked.
Sustained.
Judge, let me clarify. You just told this jury that when you fired Jordan Davis, you now know who he is, right? Mm-hmm. Was outside the car. Is that what you said?
His door was open. I don't know where his body was, but I wrote here he apparently did because of what I learned later.
Hold on, not 5 minutes ago. Didn't you just tell this jury he was outside the car?
He sure was. I mean, his door was open.
Okay, but you wrote in your,
You know, if his feet were outside and his body was inside, that's a little splitting hairs.
Mr. Dunn, did you write, he had apparently seen me go for my own weapon and dove back inside the SUV? Absolutely,
that's what I wrote. That's not what I knew at the time, but this is what I surmised.
You referenced those were your words though, right? That's in that document?
Correct.
Okay. And you referenced this interview with the sheriff's office. You remember that?
Yes.
Okay. They read you your constitutional rights, right?
Yep.
Yes?
Yes.
Okay. And you agreed to speak with them?
Yes, I had nothing to hide.
Right. And it's on videotape, correct?
Yes, it would have been nice if you had shown that.
We're not done. It's on videotape and audio tape, correct?
Yes.
And isn't it true, sir, that you said, and if you need a transcript, I'm happy to give it to you if it'll refresh your memory. He's coming out. I think he saw what I was doing and was running back in. You remember saying that?
Sure, and what you have to understand is I saw him exit the car. I saw his head above the door frame, and then after that I didn't see him anymore. He didn't just go poof and disappear. So he went somewhere, but
Right.
the door was open, and then the door was closed.
So you're telling this jury that after you shot Jordan Davis through his aorta, that he reached over and pulled the door back shut? Is that what you're telling me?
I don't know how that happened. Maybe it happened because the car was backing up.
Well,
But if you look at the bullet hole in the door, it's plainly open.
do you have that now?
Do the ME's picture that showed all the dowels, and you'll see it.
That's coming. You see it states 32?
Sure.
You see that? You see that piece of plastic in the seat?
I see 4 pieces of plastic in the seat.
Right. Do you think the door was open?
I
when
think you
those
should look
flew
at the
into
bullet
car?
impacts versus debris inside.
Do you think that piece of plastic, let me finish, do you think that piece of plastic just kind of made a right turn and flew into the car?
That's not accurate.
The picture's not accurate?
Your characterization of a right turn blown into the car is inaccurate.
How about that picture?
Right, and if you open the door a little bit, that angle would match the same angle as the dowels in the front door.
So Jordan Davis was standing outside his car going like this?
No, I think, like I said, he was diving in
He was diving in before you fired.
as I was firing.
I thought you just told us he was outside the car when
His
you fired.
feet were. He was coming after me, sir. What he did after he saw me go for my weapon, he didn't try to say anything. I didn't see him.
Let me get this straight then. This man has a shotgun, right?
Yep, as far as I know, he's hiding behind the door.
Right. With a shotgun.
Yes.
I mean, you said you described
I
it
saw 4 inches of thick barrel.
right, and you know what a shotgun looks like.
Absolutely.
Okay. And this is the man who's been carrying on now for how long saying, I'm going to kill you, you're dead, something, something, right?
Yes.
Okay. So what you're telling this jury is that when you actually turn your attention away from him and go to grab a firearm, that he suddenly changed his mind and said, oh, you know what? You're right. I won't do that. Is that what you're telling the jury?
I don't know what he's thought or said, but apparently.
I guess he changed his mind.
Apparently.
Jordan Davis was never a threat to you, was he, Mr. Dunn?
Absolutely he was. Between his actions and his threats.
Jordan Davis never got out of that car, did he?
Mr. Guy,
Yes, he did.
let him finish his answer before you ask another question.
Yes, he did. And not only did he get out, his head cleared the window frame.
Did his head look like the guy that we saw in the identification picture?
Well, all that happened so fast, I really couldn't tell you what he looked like.
Your interview with the police, that was about 2:45 the next day, right?
I don't know
It was in
what
the
time it
afternoon?
was.
Right? You remember?
Yeah, I don't know what time it was.
Is that fair? Is that about right?
It seems about right.
Okay, and so we are many, many hours from the time of the shooting, right?
Yes.
And you're the stoic one, right?
Yes, I was still in
You're
shock.
remaining calm for Rhonda, right?
Yes.
But the truth is, sir, you lied to the police, didn't
How
you?
so?
Well, They asked you specifically, was the music playing when you pulled up? And you said, no. Do you remember that?
I do, and I don't remember the heavy bass being an issue when we first pulled up.
Okay, but that's not what they asked you. They asked you, was the music playing when
Right,
you pulled
and
up?
it wasn't. I mean, if they had music on, it wasn't heavy bass where I would notice it.
Okay, but it was loud enough to be thug music, right?
That's how what Rhonda characterized. I don't recall saying that.
You don't recall saying, I hate that thug music?
No, if I would have said anything, I would have called it rap crap. Thug music isn't a term I would use.
So Ms. Rower got that wrong?
I wasn't gonna say anything about it, but I don't recall saying that, and that's not a term I would use.
Okay, but I mean, she wasn't upset when y'all were at the gate station, right? When you pulled
No,
in.
but realize there's a lot of trauma afterwards, and she could have imagined something.
She could have imagined it. You could have imagined a gun, correct?
Anything's possible, sir. It's just not likely. Like I said, between his threats and actions, they were reinforcing what my eyes were telling me.
And the detectives actually went on about the music, didn't they? And you said no. It wasn't until Rhonda got out of the
Your
car
Honor.
and she had been gone for a little bit.
Again, I'm going to object to improper impeachment. Again, there's no predicate to read from it evidence because there's been no dispute.
Judge, it's a prior and inconsistent statement.
Lack of foundation predicate.
Let me see counsel at the sidebar real quick.